Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Mathis. I'm a developer advocate at Timescale, and today we're going to talk about the Timescale Terraform provider. So for the people that don't know what Terraform is essentially a tool that allows you to instantiate and provision your cloud resources using human-readable configuration files. And we at Timescale have worked very hard to make our own Terraform provider so that your Timescale services fit very nicely into your Terraform deployment pipeline. To show you how easy it is, we'll walk through a simple example of how to deploy service to Timescale using our Terraform provider. But if you prefer reading instead, I'll leave a link in the description to the official Timescale Terraform provider documentation. Let's get started. So before we do anything, let's see if we actually have the Terraform tool installed. So let's do terraform -- version, and it should come up with something like that. If not, you probably want to install Terraform first. So to start off, let's declare our provider. So let's do Terraform, then required providers, and then we're going to do Timescale is equal to, and then we say source is Timescale/Timescale. And this is really easy to remember because the Timescale Terraform provider is on the official Terraform provider registry. So Timescale/Timescale couldn't be easier. Before we actually configure the Timescale provider, let's create some variables. So we'll create a new file, call it variables.tf. And we need three variables. We need the project ID, the access key, and the secret key. So let's do variable project ID, and that is type string, default, and we'll get back to this later. And we also need access key. That is also type string. The default is 2, and then variable, last but not least, the secret key. And this is, you guessed it, also type string. Like that. Cool. So to get these variables, we need to go to Timescale Cloud. You can find your Timescale Cloud project ID by going to the Services tab, and then all the way on the right over here, you see these three dots. Click on that, and it will show you your project ID. You can click on the copy button, and then we can go back to our IDE and paste this in here. Then for the access key and the secret ID, we actually need to create a credential set. So let's go back in here, and then go to Project Settings, and then click on Create Credentials. And here you can copy the public key. That's our access key. And then in here, the secret key is our secret key, obviously. And once we have that, we can actually close this to get rid of the secret key. And now we can never copy that again. So make sure you write that down. Let's go back to main.tf and configure our provider. So let's do provider, Timescale, and then as following, let's do project ID equals var.project ID. Our access key equals var.access key, and then our secret key is var.secret key. That's pretty self-explanatory, and now that we've done that, we can actually create a Timescale service. So let's do resource, Timescale service, and let's call this service, for example, just to give it a name. And then in here, we actually have to define the name that will show up inside Timescale. So let's call this tutorial video. Then we can define our resources. So milli CPU, let's say 500 for half a CPU. Memory, let's say 2. Storage in gigabytes, let's say 25, forget measure. And we can actually enable auto scaling through here as well. And then last but not least, we need to define our region. So let's say region, and I'm going to say US East 1. And then last but not least, and this is not required, but I think it's something that everybody should do, is to add a lifecycle that prevents Terraform from deleting the resource. This is useful for if you're accidentally typing Terraform destroy, or you're actually trying to delete some stuff. You don't want to delete your Timescale service because then you'll lose all your data. So we can do here prevent destroy equals true. And we'll get back to this later. If we try to destroy our entire setup, it will not let us. Cool. So once we've done that, we can go in here and type Terraform init. That will initialize the backend. And then once that's done, you can see here we've got some log files. Then we can do Terraform apply, and it will show us what it's trying to do. So in this case, it's trying to create our Timescale service with the name tutorial video. And I think all of this seems right. So let's just type yes. And then Timescale will create our service for us. And this will take maybe a minute or two. Cool. So as you can see, it's been completed. We can go to Timescale Cloud, go back to our services tab. And then of course, here we see our tutorial video service. We can see here all the connection info. But one thing you might be missing is the password. Usually when you create a service on Timescale, it will sort of tell you the password and tell you to save it before you move on. But in this case, we don't have the password. We don't know where it is or what it is. And one way to get the password is by using an output. So let's go in here and create a new file called outputs.tf. And here we can define an output. Let's call it service password, for example. And the value is our service. So timescale service.service.password. And because this is a password, we need to define this as sensitive. So we're going to say sensitive equals true. Let's apply this. So Terraform apply. We're going to say yes. And then we can get our value by doing Terraform output. But as you can see, it still says sensitive. So one way to get around that is by doing -JSON, and that will give us that back in JSON, and it doesn't hide anything. This, of course, isn't the most cleanest thing, so we can just use pipe and then use JQ-R to get our value from service password.value. And then there we go. There we have it. This is our password. Now, if you know your way around Terraform, you can actually do some pretty cool and interesting stuff, like here synthesizing the service URL. And then with this command, for example, you can get the actual connection string. And an even cooler way to do this is by using PSQL and putting that inside there, and then it will automatically connect you to your database using pSQL, which I think is pretty neat. So now that we've gotten that out of the way and we've played around with our service a little bit, let's try deleting it. So we're going to do Terraform destroy like you would usually. And obviously it will throw an error because we have the prevent destroy lifecycle here. So let's get rid of that. Once we for sure know we want to delete our service, let's do Terraform apply. And then let's do Terraform destroy once more. And then it will destroy our service upon confirmation. Let's say yes. And then there we go. Our service is gone. We can go back to Timescale Cloud. And as you can see, it's completely gone. So I hope you learned something new, and I hope you can use the Timescale Terraform provider. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to answer them, or reach us out via Slack or Twitter. Thank you for watching. My name is 𝗵𝗽𝗃, and I'll see you next time.